I'd like to welcome you to the House of Thrillers. I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. I read my novels and other works in the public domain and submissions from people like you. So buckle up. It's quite the ride, and we'll see you on the other side. I'd like to welcome you to the House of Thrillers. I'm your host, Scully, the author that reads to you. Tonight, I'm going to be reading a little screenplay that I wrote many years ago, Laissez, Bon Temps Rouler. Or in English, let the good times roll. Like I said, hey to everybody in chat. But tonight we're gonna get right into it. Hey Casper, how you doing? It's Patty Fish, and Meg and Sean and Janica. Popcorn. Hey, cha. Special guest tonight, the wonderful Izzy Pop, reading the main character of Margie and various people. It's going to be at least a 2-night series, so we'll see how it hold up. Not feeling 100%, so welcome, Marlene. Welcome, Izzy Pop.
Welcome. Sound check.
Check. Think we're sounding good. Everybody, sound check.
Don't get a sound check. Somebody, anybody. Okay, Janica. Good sound.
All right. It's quite a story. Izzy got to read it, and she was pretty amazed by it. But we'll let you be the judge of that. We're on a black screen. We cut to the title, Laissez, Bon Temps Rouler. We fade to the exterior of the Gulf of Mexico at dawn. It's a crane angle looking down on an ugly sheen with oil wells in the distance, where we pan to blazing fires. We cut to title, 7 Deadly Sins. Greed, sloth, gluttony, envy, wrath, pride, and lust. We're in the interior of a diner in the day. Our camera finds an exact replica of a Waffle House. We zoom in on a film production crew preparing to take action. A movie's being made from an event that changed the way the oil company handled the spill. The director, suave, succinct, is talking to Margie Main, the real-life hero of the film. Actress Sylvia Starr, quite famous for her beauty, stands idly by, waiting to take on the role of the protagonist. It's a 2-shot of Margie and the director. The director says, Margie, from a production standpoint, the script is rather womb-like. It's womb-like, Margie. It teeters on a nightmare. We've got all these people confined in a small space, and frankly, I'm getting as cranky as some of the actors. Besides, there's simply too many montages in the script. Everyone knows that Margie is included on the set for the benefit of the director, who at times seems inept. He's needing her input for the fateful night. He looks like Doc from Back to the Future. The director starts snapping around like a mouse spotting cheese. Actresses and actors take positions. Margie studies the scene. It's an angle on Miss Starr, beginning recitation. Then, cut, no. Starr, it's a voiceover, dear. It's just, well, I don't like them.
I forgot. I remember now. The scene opens up with Margie thinking about all that bad stuff.
Great. Are we ready now? Remember, Margie's a young girl at 20. She's about 20. She just returned from France. The young woman has been running from her problems, hardly able to find the love she seeks. She's telling the world why she became the way she did, her apathy, how it set her all free. Don't forget, it's in this scene that she sees Gabe's face for the first time, and she knows her world will never be the same. We fade to black. We cut to title, December 23rd, 2012, a Sunday. 9 years earlier. The event, white letters on black. We're in the interior of a diner. We close on a booth inside the Waffle House. Two people, young Margie Main, 20, vivacious, witty, an entrepreneur. Michelle Boudreau, 78, a Cajun crawfish farmer man who has been ruined by a denied claim by the oil company. It is obvious they are friends. Around them, the chatter of patrons. And then suddenly we hear,
The night started like every Sunday night at the Waffle House until my friend Boudreau reached down into his duffel bag and pulled out an old Colt 45. There was an expression on the old Cajun's face I had never seen. I asked him what the hell he was getting ready to do, and he said, "I'm getting ready to hoe up the place." Not 5 minutes later, we were held captive. The night in question started ordinarily enough. We had shared 10 weeks of lonely, nothing else to do Sunday nights. Yes, the same people Sunday in and Sunday out. I'm binge like when it comes to routine, so I found myself seated amongst them for the 10th Sunday in the road. The Sunday that Boudreaux snapped. Like many who had left Mississippi Gulf Coast after Hurricane Katrina, I left my problems behind. I saw better opportunities and was given the opportunity to work in France, where I studied culinary arts under a famous French chef. Yet, as time went by, a constant force pulled me back home. I longed for the hot, humid summer nights, crawfish parties, and platters of raw oysters. More than anything, I longed for my family.
Margie snapped out of her reverie. Boudreaux wants to talk about her problems. His voice is authentic Cajun, holding the windswept traits of Acadia. Let's hear it, babe. You can't hold the guilt in your whole life.
I can't help it, Boudreaux. I felt terrible for saying goodbye to my mother and father and to my hometown of Long Beach. I became just like everybody else who left. Don't you see? If we would have all stayed, maybe the coast would be better off by now.
That's the human race for you, mon cher. We always think the grass is greener on the other side. Instead, we compound the problems we have with other problems. Now, problems on top of the old.
Come on, Boudreaux. My dad died while I was in France. I never got to say goodbye.
We fade to black. Cut the title, present 2015, white letters on black, interior outside of the courthouse in the day. The camera pans to many different heads bobbing on busy bodies, and in the hallway, the mood is hectic. We suddenly see Margie's point of view through two slits.
So my tour really started upon my return from France. Not long before I was getting ready to turn 21, the day I would receive the inheritance my father had left for me. I had every intention of using this money to open my dream restaurant. It seemed I had everything in place, which was a tall order for someone my age. I had even picked out the land and planned on using Boudreaux's grandmother's recipes on my menu. Boudreaux knew I was going to open that restaurant too, and he knew I was depending on that money. I felt I knew this man. I considered him a close friend. I thought I knew him better than anybody, or so I thought.
We fade to the interior of a diner at night. We pick up with the previous conversation, moments before Boudreaux pulls out the old Colt 45. The diner is full of people, approximately 20 people. We leave audience with anxiety as we close on a two shot of Boudreaux and Margie. Man, don't be so cayenne. Sometimes my dad told me I can't go fishing. Then I make a big bob, and I wonder about you sometimes. You know what I find? Everything is beauty. Your life, my life, everything.
What do you mean?
That means our life stinks, man.
Aw, come on, Boudreaux. Things aren't that bad.
Don't fool yourself, Dad. Everybody is so full of the gumbo yaya.
I guess I didn't catch that in French class.
T'es deux, t'es quoi, toi?
Whatever, Boudreaux. Tell me more about your grandmother's recipes.
The old Cadian word for oatmeal is barjal. It comes from the modern word in France from gruel.
I think I'm going to soup that up and put it on the menu. So, what's the secret?
The sugar cane's the secret, boo. Maybe a little brown sugar.
Sometimes things are just simple, I guess.
We all ate it as juniors, man. I guess when it comes down to the truth, I got me some coon ass in my blood, but even the rich Cardines, they ate the barjal.
So, your grandmother taught you all these recipes then?
Sorry.
Each night.
Yeah, you're right. Mama, now that was some bone Cardine. She take me to the butchery every year where they slaughtered a hog. Now that was something. And as a junior, I'd wake up every morning to the couscous and put that cream and a little bacon. You talking about some yum yum.
Tell me about the courtbouillon. I just can't seem to get it right.
Man, the base gotta be strong, man. The fish gotta be fresh. Good juicy yum yum.
What about filet? What's the secret?
You gotta get the good sassafras leaf. Don't be cheap.
And the roux?
Mama's specialty.
I've been trying to perfect it, but it keeps burning.
There's a trick to that, man. I think Emerald says to sip 3 beers while you stir, and then it's ready to go. They are happy, or what appears to be.
Gosh, a dream come true. Everything's so perfect. My restaurant getting ready to open. What more could a person my age ask for, right? Boudreaux, the man that would change my life.
Revolving angle inside the diner. Everyone's going through routines, laughter, sadness, dismay, upbeat. Pitbull's latest mega single plays on the jukebox. We slowly move into Boudreaux, who removes a shiny Colt 45. Shines in the light. Margie is stunned.
How could I have known that Boudreaux would snap that lonely Sunday night? I couldn't. There's no possible way I could have known that he'd be following us around our private lives, planning for this. We hardly realized we were the same people every Sunday, and that was the irony of it. We, as friends and acquaintances, some as lovers, and others making avoidance in spirit but not presence, have been at this Waffle House together long enough to know that there might be secrets among us.
We widen on the entire diner.
At first, when I met Boudreaux, I had no idea he had lost everything that BP had denied in his claim. That, the way he of life as he knew it was over. It had taken time for Boudreaux to open up to me, explaining what bothered him. He revealed to me humility.
We dissolve to the exterior of the swamps of Louisiana in a day. It's a montage of Boudreaux in younger years catering to crawfish traps on the Atchafalaya. Hot, beaming sun. The man is tanned. He works feverishly. Boudreaux going over claims with the oil company executive, shaking his head. Boudreaux pleading his case. Boudreaux, dressed in calmly, appearing in court, claim being denied. Downtrodden as he heads into the Waffle House to meet his friend Margie Main, we cut to the interior of the diner. Our camera catches a glimpse of lonely people on this lonely night.
Upon hearing Boudreaux's story for the first time, I was awestruck. It was heartbreaking what he had told me. I wanted to offer reason for what happened. He was a hard-working man, for Christ's sake. I wanted to believe he would be all right. No, to me, It was nothing short of madness the way BP handled his claim. The plain, simple fact of the matter was, BP was a ruthless, evil giant. Cestuous, oh Jesus, come say, come ça, he said to me that fateful night, adding, but never like this, man. This is bad. Today's move. I guess I didn't know what that meant. Very, very bad. But I would find out soon enough.
We close on Boudreaux and Margie deep in conversation, extreme close on the 45, reverse angle.
What the hell are you doing with that gun, Boudreaux?
I'm getting ready to hold up the place.
You're getting ready to what?
Say ça couillon, man. What the hell's it look like?
Is that thing loaded?
You're damn right, partner. This is what you call an engraved Colt 45, single action revolver. Boom, boom, piece of work. My pawpaw gave it to me. Look, even signed by the engraver, L. Kelly, made in 1907. The ivory grips are beautiful with the egg yolk yellow. The gun is mechanically perfect and has an excellent bore. Margie's astonished. To her, it seemed like the type of gun used in the Wild Wild West.
What the hell is this all about, Boudreaux?
I got some business to take care of, baby.
Business? What kind of business you mean here?
It don't matter. It gotta be done somewhere.
What's got to be done, Boudreaux?
Everything, say too. Hang in there a sec. Boudreaux rises from the booth, taps the barrel of the gun to his water glass. Attention, everybody. Stay right where you're at. Don't move. Nobody takes him serious. They are used to his funny pranks. We see Margie's face conveying seriousness. Quickly, the hostages show concern.
That night we would all face one truth or the other. And there was no one, no SWAT team, no hero of the hour that was going to save us.
Boudreaux forces everyone down into the smoking section. 20 people crammed into 3 booths. Once his posse is secured, we follow Boudreaux to the other side of the building where he spray paints the foyer windows black, thus concealing his position to the outside. From a duffel bag, he removes items and lays them out on the 3 tables. Knives, guns, rope, pliers, various items. Hostages are wondering what will happen. They exhibit fright and dismay.
The bottom line was, although we would have ample time to think about our lives that night, we could see nothing save the eerie darkness coming our way.
Time cut. Interior of the diner at night.
Not long after Boudreaux began this remarkable travesty, he started talking about the subject of the 7 deadly sins. He touched briefly on Dante's Inferno and other poets I had never heard of. He spoke in generalities. He gave us nothing else, not even Cliff Note versions at this point. To make matters worse, I was conscious of some terrible storm brewing within the Cajun. He said that greed was the mother of all sins.
Angle on Boudreaux sauntering over to the hostages, wielding a gun, daring anyone to challenge him. We close on Boudreaux. Before the night is over, you're gonna know them all. What they mean, live there too, that break the spells, everything.
We were spoken to, preached to for a while, but none of it made sense. In point of fact, I should say we had been picked, or rather predetermined, for lack of a better word, for our lives. Where we went, who we saw, what we did, and where we fit into the community had been under the lamp. We simply had been reduced to a common denominator.
Extreme close up on Boudreaux, his spiraling eyes. Dante, à mon avis, I think he describes it best. I know this means nothing to you right now. Vous êtes naïf. The old company had no right.
He went on to tell us what had happened, leaving out the blanks my mind could only fill. At great lengths he exposed the vulnerabilities of his claim, and he had been railroaded.
Dis-moi la vérité. There's dead turtles everywhere. Boudreaux removes a small canvas from his bag. There appears to be OC oil attached to it, with a shoe stuck in it. A dead turtle has been painted on the words Va la mere be assis.
We would find ourselves in uncharted waters. By morning we would see it. We would see it, he said. It would be there. That sheen would be there. And by night's end, we would doubt it no more.
Quoi faire? OC had no right. Time cut to the interior of the diner at night. About an hour later, my crew watches Boudreaux from Margie's point of view. Boudreaux's become antsy, moves back and forth between tables, checking his accoutrements and weapons.
I looked up to the clock.
It read 11:40 p.m. We close on Margie, distraught, anxiety creeping in.
So it was the time when wanton patrons scuttled in for late-night coffees and midnight snacks. Also my standard departure time. Tonight, I wasn't going anywhere. I looked around the room, saw anxiety, expressions of doubt, and the dull fear of what was happening.
Angle on Boudreaux. Impatient, he marches over to the court of detainees and settles his eyes on Jim Higginbotham, a tall, lanky, and balding man, a local librarian. Higginbotham chews on a piece of bacon, as if it has nothing to do with him. Boudreaux's mood turns to indignation. Monsieur Higginbotham, sin creates to the sin, it endangers the vice repetition of the same acts. In other words, the sloth can't know the difference between good and evil. That don't matter though, you can't destroy the moral sense of the root. It's all about the attitudes. The sins first came into existence around the 4th century, when a man called St. John Cassian spoke about them in conferences. Verse angle Boudreaux, we follow his eyes as he walks over to the smoking section. In Latin, they say Acadia. Allons, over to the grill, Pichouin, you skinny mullet. You gonna cook up some food, Pichouin. Botham starts to protest. Boudreaux cuts him off. In Cardin, vous priorite. You get them backwards, son. Vous comprenez? Higginbotham turns radish red. His nerves are put on high alert. He trembles. The notification of the moment has stunned him. Vero, you've hidden devices, which are often disguised by the mask of virtue. We pan to the windows where headlights enter the parking lot. Angle on Chris Stevens, the store manager. He wears the boring uniform, has the short man's complex. Beady eyes, he can stand this nuisance no longer. That's Rick Smith. He's friends with Bill Bass. Angle on Boudreaux. My eye, Monsieur Bass. The police chief. Cool, let me tell you. You gonna for sure let Monsieur Smith we know we mean business. Boudreaux fires the Colt 45. The bullet misses the intruder, who dives for cover and leaves a bullet hole in the window. Angle on Margie, astonished face.
It was a sound I had never heard. I imagined people having to face those things on a daily basis.
We pan out to a 2-shot of Margie and Boudreaux.
What the hell is this all about, Boudreaux?
Well, heck, that was crazy. Oh, wait, sorry. 210 gross. Check. 210 gross beijo, man.
Well, heck, that was crazy, don't you think?
Vous comprenez plus tard.
What will I understand later?
We fade to the time cut in the interior of the diner at night. We see weariness inside the diner. Angel and Margie lost in thought. We pan out to the court of detainees, all sharing 3 booths. We close on Andy Winter, handsome, a ladies' man.
I had known Andy Winter since the 1st grade. I have to admit he was my first crush. In fact, most of the girls in my hometown had been in love with him at some point. He was cute, his face resembled Brad Pitt, and he was chock full of charisma. Star quarterback, top 10 in his class, Andy Winters, a mother's dream. One drawback, we weren't kids anymore, and I knew that Andy, for the most part, had made bad decisions when it came to women. Present-day Andy appeared frayed on the edges, like he couldn't cope. Overall, my childhood friend was a pretty nice guy. He was just attracted to, well, bimbos. And the bimbo he was with that night, she was a queen of all bimbos, Daphne Rose. I even hated her name.
We close on Daphne Rose. Freeze frame.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd have to say that Daphne was barely an 8. She was always dressed to the nines, yet I knew if she neglected her body for a few days, she'd easily be relegated to a 7. I was lucky if I barely made it to the 7th digit on a good night.
Whiter Anglion lovely couple. We see Andy and Daphne bickering with each other. Neither one of them really wants to be here.
I wondered at that moment if Boudreaux had picked John for my lust. Well, it could be. My subconscious told me. Andy does date all the floozies. In the mire Boudreaux had led me through, it had eluded me that our captor knew their routines by heart. Daphne, in the time she spent away from Andy, and vice versa, from the moment they woke up to the end of their days.
Angle on Boudreaux. He walks rapidly toward the hostages, the weapons precarious. Mademoiselle Rose l'envie votre disparition. We close on Daphne with astonished look on her face. She's Medusa. For Boudreaux, her stare doesn't work. L'envie is the human nature. L'exception à la règle. What you think, babe, that don't matter. Mon chat, with you it goes a little deeper. If you don't have what they have, you want them to suffer. Quoi faire? You see, Mademoiselle Rose, that's one thing to be jealous. What you need, 3 people. But that's something else with l'envie. There you have 2. Get some water, hang on.
I hope everybody's liking this so far.
Yeah, y'all enjoying that out there?
Put
Not
a
much
10
time to chat tonight. Yeah, put a 10 out
put a 10
there.
in the I found Izzy's voice so comforting. I catch myself in the fetal position, sucking my thumb and trying to remember how to pee. Oh my God.
Well, damn, Stoney, that's a voice that influences.
Oh my God. Oh Lord.
Daphne chews on the fingernail. One eye twitches. She fights to sustain the levy, holding her emotion at bay. Anglon Boudreaux weaving a finger in the air. Mais pour vous, it goes a little deeper. For myself, Fisca Alligator Yum Yum down by oh. Maybe this has something to do with your mama. Anyways, but l'envie and jealousy are akin to what they say is called the Schadenfreude. Anglon Lee Cody, old war veteran, throaty voice speaks with vocalizer, cancer survivor.
That's only one side of the coin when it comes to her. Young lady, you also suffer from the narcissism. What you don't understand is there are two principles threatening mankind today. First, because you are a narcissist, you think everyone envies you. The Schadenfreude only compounds the problem because you get pleasure from the misfortunes of others. You will become a self-fulfilling prophet.
It's a wider angle on the entire crowd. We see brash, spaced out looks on everyone's faces. That might be helpful you yet, babe. Coping low in envy can be like coping with anger. May, in the case from you, I think Monsieur Cody may be right, and that may be your problem. Je crois, vous avez un sentiment de supériorité.
That means he thinks she's condescending.
He closed on Daphne, giving Boudreaux a blank stare. Medusa looking in the mirror. Hang on, Boudreaux. Golly, I think she done put the gray on me. Clothes on Violet Nikkei's motherly, somewhat of a rock. Retirement age. She raises a hand in the air. Pan to Boudreaux, spotting her. Oui, Mademoiselle Nikkei's. Camera widens.
In the book of Genesis, envy is said to be the motivation behind Cain murdering his brother Abel, as Cain envied Abel because God favored Abel's sacrifice over Cain's. The book of Exodus states, "You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife."
Bonbon Catholique. Touché, mademoiselle. Iliave. There are the other opinions, though. In Dante's Inferno, Lapine pour l'envie was to be submerged in freezing water for eternity.
It might behoove you, Daphne, to pay attention to what he is saying. I mean, he thinks business. He thinks he means business. You must learn to be humble. Things like kindness and compassion are important when you want to rid yourself of envy.
Angle on Lee Cody, turning on his vocalizer.
That's true. A person who is humble isn't threatened by the stuff of others.
The hostage is all grown in accord. The room falls silent. We widen our angle on Boudreaux. We see the crowd arguing. The truly kind don't harbor no resentment. Ne me déplaise pas, in place for the happiness. No les réalisations. Many people look to Margie for a translation. She just raises her shoulders, acknowledging that she has no clue. Fade to black. Cut the title, Mademoiselle Envy, white letters on black. Interior of the diner an hour later. It's after a round of coffees, you can't help but wonder if the Stockholm Syndrome hasn't taken hold. Some of them have slipped into gregarious roles. Shock, dismay, acquiescence all around. We see all of this through Margie's point of view. She turns toward Boudreaux, who paces anxiously.
It was plain to see that Daphne had never dealt with the like of Michel Boudreaux or anyone close to him.
Close on Boudreaux. Margie strains her eyes. She sees he's about to say something. Mademoiselle Rose, l'envie is the sin of the flesh. Front and center, monsieur. We zoom out to a two-shot of Boudreaux and Daphne. As Boudreaux grabs her by the shirt tail, drags her to a booth in his camp. Reverse angle, Boudreaux's point of view. looking back at hostages, and then swish panning to Daphne. You gonna start a little group. Higginbotham for sure gonna join you later. Mingle on, Daphne and Boudreaux.
You're not gonna kill me, are you?
That will be up to you, boo. Et pete le jury. How you call in English, man?
Possibly the jury, Boudreaux.
It's later, the evening has progressed. Hostages have become fearful. Some wonder what might happen next. Margie is certainly caught up in her reverie.
Generally, Boudreaux would enter the Waffle House with that joker's sneer, all cracked up to the left, jolly as a button, spouting off expressions and expletives I had never heard. He said things like, "What time it is?" and "Where you at, Maine?" He said that life was short and you had to live like there was no tomorrow. When I think about all the Southern men I've dated, I'd have to say that my father would have been my ideal companion. He was charming, and I was his little girl. Maybe it was my trip to France that tore his heart apart. I was a baby bird fleeing the nest. He was a compassionate father letting go. But there's only so much you can do for your kids, right? Well, little did I know, I had been running from something my whole life. And Paris was the finish line.
Mademoiselle Rose, kindness is the act of being, how you call me? Compatissant?
It means compassionate.
Yeah, you're right. Compassionate. It is the goodness, Monsieur, isn't there too?
He means virtue.
Daphne begins to say something. She's cut off. I know something about you, Monsieur, that nobody knows, and this secret's gonna come out before the night is over. Smash cut to the interior of the diner. Suddenly in Higginbotham's world. From Higginbotham's point of view, we see food burning on the grill. Sweat drips onto the griddle and sears. Ça va, Higginbotham? I got me an envie for some of those waffles. You making crab meat au gratons or what? I'm going as fast as I can, sir. I didn't get much sleep last night. My chagrin may fade up if that's what you think. Our camera widens to accommodate Higginbotham. Black smoke comes off the grill. Boudreaux moves in the frame. We watch in slow motion as Boudreaux coaxes Higginbotham further, and like a jockey on his horse leads the sloth to the finish line. Smash cut to the interior of the diner. We now fast forward to hostages eating, enjoying their meals. Angle on Boudreaux finishing his plate, pushing it forward. Takes a good look around, then stands to make an announcement. It's time to batten down the hatches, lâche pas la patate, and lock the back door. I know how it works.
Boudreaux started talking without being consumed with pride. Something about fading with greens and being cut down like grass.
Inscribed in ancient times, the Oracle of Delphi. The Oracle of Delphi. Know thyself, know follows closely behind the knowledge of God. The self-knowledge for everyone means the knowledge of sin. We are all sinners. We don't mind as long as the sins are nameless and faceless. When we name a sin found in ourselves by grace, it is though we are confronted in the back alleys of our souls. Avec des furtifs saboteurs and muggers who seek to prevent the union with God. We dissolve to the exterior of the day, Mississippi Gulf Coast. Crane angle pans across the sky past the University of Southern Mississippi. We zoom on Friendship Oak Tree, old oak tree, big and strong. Swish up to the sky and down to the beautiful homes.
In Long Beach, Amos Guidry was rumored to be one of the richest men in town. Although he held no political office, word had it that his hands were bathed in malfeasance. A smorgasbord of hearsay flooded the city about him on a daily basis. Yet no one could say for sure how Guidry had made his fortune. The general consensus: old money. We all knew that Guidry lived in the big beach house lining Highway 90, a property covered in crepe myrtle, bottle brush, sago palms, and ancient oaks that had stood the test of time. Guidry's transportation, an old beat-up Chevy truck. He could be seen driving periodically to the dump. If not, the man simply walked from point A to B, be it a city function or a social gathering. Amos Guidry could be seen hiking up from the distance, subtly throwing himself into the fray, where he would bicker points like a hag trading spells. The man seemed to live off a retirement nobody understood. While there were people who said otherwise, there were many that placed his net worth at over $10 million. Some said even more, and most agreed at least $1 million or $2 million. I myself speculated on his treasure. Ironically, there was no evidence of the life of luxury except for the house. No pertinent details anywhere. A very strange man, I thought. It didn't surprise me when Boudreaux singled him out of the crowd, announcing,
Cut to the interior of the diner at night. Angle on Amos Guidry. Middle-aged, dressed simple, t-shirt and slacks. An ordinary guy, or so we think, is nothing of the sort. He is rich and everybody knows it. A mystery, this man. Avarice, Monsieur Guidry. That means you got the greed in your blood. We freeze frame on a Rolex on Guidry's arm. Margie's point of view honing in on the watch.
I thought about the rumors encircling Guidry. I wondered how true they were. I had a different version of what went on here. First of all, you had to understand there were a bunch of aldermen running around the city acting like they owned it, when in truth no ordinance, decree, or regulation got passed unless the matriarch said so. It was also what had kept Long Beach from letting anyone put them on the map. But Amos Guidry, he seemed to fit the mold, or was the mold, or perhaps the ringleaders. Now, this brings me to the part of the story about the fallout of the Walmart deal. Why, today it sits in past Christian, one city over, and not Long Beach. How this deal was brokered unsuccessfully by someone in the city, the coup de grace being that the man was Amos Guidry. You see, the Walmart deal would have established a strong tax base for Long Beach, which would have put money into the city's coffers, which would have filled the piggy banks of some awfully voracious people. It was also the reason no street projects had been completed. In most cases, like I said, hearsay prevailed, and because of this, I didn't want to put too much stock into what I had heard. But the big rumor, the Walmart deal, having all to do with Guidry.
Angle on Boudreaux, shaking his head. Greed, Monsieur Guidry, it'll get you every time. Angle on Guidry, dry gulping several knots. He tries to appear as if this turn of events, by royal rights, excludes him. Front and center, Monsieur. Angle on Margie becoming spellbound. Avarice, Monsieur Guidry, is greed. And to break this vice, you gonna need a generosity.
and possibly sympathie de jury. Amos Guidry looks at Boudreaux and raises one eyebrow, as if he's formulating a verbal assault, his rebuttal. Interview Boudreaux. Greed is made of the yuck. Monsieur Guidry? Now embrassez-moi you and take a seat. I'm fixing to teach y'all something. Amos Guidry takes a seat, but then, what's the point of all this? The point, Pichwank, is you need to shut the hell up and pay attention before I blow your damn head off. Amos Guidry quickly finds himself in a predicament. It's like one big audience which can't wait to hear more. La vie n'est pas une question d'argent. It ain't about you playing bourrée all day, son. La generosité means giving the people credit when they earn it. It means getting rid of them expectations, partner. For sure, greed wants the fair share or even more. I've given back to the community. They know that, Pichwank. But what they don't know is how much you gained. Guidry stares at Boudreaux like he knows zip about this addendum. His complexion turns to a deeper shade of red. Boudreaux encourages Guidry to prepare for the confession de culpabilité, to which Margie translates
His admission of guilt.
Guidry seems to fall ill. Boudreaux asks him if he wants a Coke. Guidry says no. Izzy, do you want to put the other music and stuff on for a minute? We'll stop this.
How about that? Are you talking? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll just play a
All
little bit so people don't get too bored.
All right.
So you got that, okay. Mais c'est tout. Over there, then with Mademoiselle Rose and Monsieur Higginbottom. We pan out as Amos Guidry joins the other sinners. Monsieur Guidry, that nice dame you had kicked out of her house because of the Walmart deal, simply unacceptable.
With that, the old Cajun shook his head and told us the story. And a candy-ass story it was. Guidry meeting with said owner, a really nice lady, who had lived in the house for decades. Something about Guidry's niece really liking the house. Yes, the niece thought it was cute, and she wanted to start a family in it. They'd paid top dollar. Of course, Guidry, having failed to mention the fact that he needed the property in order to fulfill an emergency exit order required by the city, which would have sealed the deal for a clandestine few, chiefly among them himself, and no intention of this fact ever come to light. Yes, booting this woman out of her home should have meant a fortune.
We close on Boudreaux. None of that mattered though, did it? Greed done got you that time. Again, the house, the missing link in your chain. You stopped to the dirtiest measures. Getting that nice lady kicked out for not paying her taxes. Trumped up charge that's appeared mysteriously on the city books. Angle on Guidry. He falls limp. No 4-leaf clovers to bail him out. But then there was a problem. Yeah, everybody got greedy, and the deal fell through the cracks. Don't worry, mon ami. You will have a chance to redeem yourself. There are worse crimes here tonight. It's midnight. The condensation on the windows has suddenly lit up blue. The police have arrived.
Each passing second, the lights become brighter. The diner's phone rings. Boudreaux picks it up. Don't even think about it. No, that place is wide to the hilt. That's right, partner. It'll blow sky high. Set up a direct line. As soon as I got something to say, I'll pick up. Till then, no funny business. Boudreaux slams down the phone. We match cut to a waitress, Jazzy, dropping a pot of coffee. Angle Lee Cody, frustrated. Does anybody know what the rest of the sins actually are? Why?
He's covered sloth. He's covered envy. He's covered greed. So there are 4 more.
A slight beat as everyone waits for someone to reveal the rest. Dax Hartley, brass, balding, pot-bellied, gray-haired, vacuum cleaner salesman. Well, what the hell are they?
Look, Max, we're in enough trouble already. You need to watch your mouth.
What the hell are you talking about, lady?
The word hell, Dax.
The word
Lust and
hell,
pride.
Dax. Sorry.
That was my line.
Yeah, it was Margie's line. Oh my goodness. Thank
sound
you,
like-
Sable. Thank you, Sean.
word
Thank
hell.
you, Sable.
The word hell, Dax. Lust and pride, and of course, wrath and gluttony.
Dax Hartley stares at Violet Nikke as if she's a rube. Close on Margie, freeze frame, incredulous. Back to real. Go ahead, sorry.
Coincidentally, I wanted to say that I didn't realize the 10th week held such special meaning. Not until I read Dante's Inferno later. Afterwards, it dawned on me why Boudreaux had chosen this particular Sunday. According to ancient scholars, the number 10 was the perfect number. And it's true. Dante created the perfect geometrical poem. Although I think you could spend a lifetime analyzing the Divine Comedy, as it is known in some circles, but there was a second thing going on, wasn't there? In the process, we had forgotten what it was 2 days before Christmas, the day Christ was born, the day God gave to the world new hope. I suddenly wondered what that meant.
Dissolved to the interior of the diner later. We find Boudreaux on the phone with the police. No, that's not gonna work. I said no, buddy. That spells no. Well, you even think about that, then everybody's gonna die. Those sudden moves, and I mean it. The old Cajun bangs the receiver back to its cradle. This time breaking off a piece of plastic, which flies through the air.
There was so much irony that night, I felt we waded in it. The undertow of reason pulling us into uncharted waters. No, we were none of us. No, we were none of us here by choice. That much was obvious. Between the melee and the revelation of Guidry's life, our simple sloth Higginbotham, and of course Daphne Rose, aka Madame Envy, we found ourselves being dragged down by an unknown force. In some back corner of my mind, a place where I understood fiction. Envy's face kept reappearing, and with that thought came the pull that brought me under. My reasons gravitated to this enchantress, Daphne Rose. I felt sorry for her in more ways than you can imagine. Whatever she did, it must have been bad, or else Boudreaux wouldn't have singled her out. I guess the old Cajun knew something we didn't. My focus fell back on Boudreaux. There's no way you'd do something like this in your right mind, not if it wasn't for a good reason. There has to be a decent outcome. We're innocent people, aren't we, Boudreaux? No, it can't be, old man. You're always so kind and courteous.
We see the camera revolve away from Margie as the song ends her soliloquy. Freeze frame on Dax Hartley. Monsieur Hartley, pride often gets in the way. The room comes back to life as Dax Hartley's nerves are put on high alert. Everyone offers cold stares. Angle on Violet Nike's.
I warned you, Dax.
That's enough, mademoiselle. A dark silence fills the room, and then we see ourselves as we are and not comparing ourselves to others. That is humility. Pride and vanity are competitive, monsieur. It's like this. If someone's pride bothers you, you got a lot of pride. You must travel in la veine de humilité, and that will set you free.
I realized that Boudreaux, whom I thought I knew, who was keeping the local police at bay, had an ironclad plan. The man was suddenly like this jack-in-the-box put on high alert. I didn't like the feeling it gave me. Yes, I said to myself, I'm getting it, Boudreaux, but I don't know if I like it. No, I was not able to put a finger on the precise thing that bothered me. I wondered whether there was something I had forgotten over those 10 weeks. Somehow I knew that bad things were about to happen.
We fade to a time cut. Later, a long shot into the entire diner. We push in, we see Boudreaux yet again on the phone, displaying indignation. Margie appears to be in a daze. She's honing in on the condensation on the window. The windows seem to take a life of their own, as if they have become an organism that breathes a wet heat. Its malicious glands salivating at the thought that these people might succumb to the evil it represents. Boudreaux's aggravated, glowering from his skin. He ambles over to the centers. We close in on Violet Nike's. She stands, looks as if she has had enough of this.
Max, you've always been a bully. You never gave anyone credit for anything.
Our camera widens. We see the entire crowd. A man from the group, Gerald Allen, 52 and washed up, a has-been, stands up and sends a death ray in Dax Hartley's direction.
That bastard's kid. He's the one that ruined my son Gabe's life. I was going to get his ass. I've been coming here every week with you guys. He doesn't seem to even remember a damn thing of my kid.
What happened?
Bastard made it sound like a freak accident. That's what happened. He did it for his kid. I believed him.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Max's boy was always getting into trouble.
Is that a fact?
Affirmative. Some bitch's kid, the cocksucker that vandalized the church.
A few off-the-wall statements materialize. Rumors of further misdeeds.
I just can't believe this.
Like father, like son.
Well, what happened to your boy, Gerald?
We used to live down here, my wife and I. We raised the kids here. That was before she got sick. But we moved away, and I tried to forget about it. Tried to put it out of my mind, you know. Thought it would go away. It did. But my kid, he was devastated. I had to see his face every day.
Because of the accident, he never got to play the Little League Championship. It broke his little heart. Gabe was basically ruined. Most of his face burned up anyway. Didn't hardly have a chance. It took years for the real pain to go away, including the mental and the physical. He's learned to live with the complications. His eyes never healed, though.
You mean he's blind?
My kid will never be the same. He'll never see another sunset. Then my wife died.
What happened to her?
Breast cancer.
Oh. How did the accident happen, Mr. Allen?
Gabe was in intensive care for 14 weeks. He died twice, you know. They brought him back each time. It was like God wanted him to live. It was like God wanted him. But you see, it was the devastation of not being able to play in the championship that really broke his heart. You can imagine how important that was to an 11-year-old boy. Anyway, that crazy Hartley family lived down the street. Their son was always getting into trouble, like you guys said.
But what did Dax's son do to
They
Gabe?
were playing with some gas. Dax Jr. found some old cans in the woods, the old metal kind, you know. Always thought it would be a good idea to make Molotov cocktails out of them. Well, Dax's boy kept egging my little Gabe on, telling him he should try it. Gabe said no, he didn't want to. And some of the other kids got called off by their parents. But Gabe stayed behind. That's when the punk ended up making him do it, and then it blew up in his face. Mr. Allen seems to be hiding something. Close on Lee Cody switching on his voice box. But that's not the real story, is it? He switches it off. It's not the real story at all. My kid didn't give me that version until later, after his mother died. He said Dax's boy lit one of those cans and threw it right in his face, like it was some big joke. Can you believe that? It nearly blew Gabe's head off. To this day, I don't know what the Hartley's kid said to my son. Probably he cut him up into a million pieces if he ever breathed a word.
Was Dax Jr. on the other team?
No, they played on the same team.
So how's your son now?
Alive. We switch pan to the other side of the diner. Other side of the diner. Where Dax Hartley is chewed up in conversation with Jim Higginbotham, Daphne Rose, and Amos Guidry. Dax Hartley seems to understand that something is up. We push in on his gameful eye.
But there was something else. What did Mr. Allen mean when he said he was going to get his ass? I suddenly wondered if Mr. Allen wasn't teamed up with Boudreaux. And I certainly didn't want to leave any options on the table.
We fade to black. Fade in on the interior of the diner. Complacency has set in. It is past everybody's bedtime. We zoom in on Margie.
In any case, the question kept arising in my head. What had caused Boudreaux's mind to go over the edge like this? Financial devastation was one thing, but holding innocent people at bay was another. The most logical explanation: my friend come to the Griddle House in order to fulfill a destiny. But other things started happening, and being the smart person he was, Boudreaux had presumed who would come to know as the sinners. He must have learned a lot of things along the way, things I was never able to find out. How he set it all up, the lengths he went to, learning about our small intentions, our grievances, my grievances, the fact that I was 3 days from receiving my inheritance, I had picked out the land for the restaurant with a promise to the realtor and architect once I had the money. My life was going to change. Officially, I would become an adult. Simple as that. Or so I thought. Whoa, let me say, whoa, Sally. I had no idea I would become an adult that night. The night Boudreaux snapped, and a real adult at that. Little did I know, we would have made aware of some of the startling facts. He said if we didn't do something about it, the great Mississippi would form a new channel down the Atchafalaya, creating a new delta south of Morgan City. Page 47 at the top. He's muted. Y'all don't want me singing
Sorry
to you.
about that, guy. Sorry about that.
Okay.
We're gonna skip down to okay. Let me put it this way. All the water is gonna go away from Baton Rouge and New Orleans. As with Morgan City, I got family down there, and they already opened several gates on the Morganza Spillway.
So there it was. I knew I had heard a trace of an accent in Guidry's voice, so slight you'd never notice his Cajun if you hadn't paid attention. Now I really wanted to know what the hell was going on.
Wait, they have, haven't they, Monsieur Guidry? And many small communities affected, no? Yes, that's true. Transportation by road, rail, sea. Barge would go through a radical change, sedimentation, erosion patterns altered. And the nouveau schemes of floodplains, right, Monsieur Guidry? That's correct. Des salinités des côtes affectant la vie marine. Close on March, Maine, freeze frame.
Wait, I thought, what in heaven's name is Guidry doing speaking French?
The plot thickens. Reverse angle 2-shot of Boudreaux and Amos Guidry. Fisheries, beaches, coastal marshes, nearly everything affected. You would know this, would you not, Monsieur Guidry? Even your name, Monsieur, implies a lot. French from the personnel name based on the Germanic root Wado or to hunt. The name is chiefly associated with the Cajuns in South Louisiana. Descondé from Claude Guidry de Grivois, who arrived in Acadia avant 1671. There's a variant of Guitry based on the personal name composed of the Germanic elements with plus ric or powerful.
I could tell the Guidry wished he had kept his mouth shut. It seemed that Boudreaux knew Guidry's lineage better than he did, but it's Guidry's silence that said it all. I could only guess how Boudreaux knew so much about Amos Guidry and why.
You understand me quite well, right, Monsieur Guidry? We pull out, we see the entire crowd.
Do you know all this stuff about the river, Boudreaux?
C'est une longue histoire, Mademoiselle Nicaise. The crowd turns to Marchie Maine.
He means it's a long story. Can you tell us more? It's really interesting what you have to say.
Close on Marchie Maine, freeze frame.
We were momentarily lost in our thoughts, like townsfolk getting ready for some big jamboree. True, we were about to cozy in and listen to the rest of Boudreaux's story, but I wondered if we weren't crazy at this point to have empathy. For one, this man was my friend and he was breaking the law. To prove what? I thought. We weren't vigilantes. For all I knew, We had a slayer on our hands. A Cajun of the worst kind.
Thank you. Fade out, black, fade in. Interior of the diner. The crowd is fascinated. He's become fascinated by Boudreaux's story. There are many scenarios which could take place if the Mississippi River decides to change her main course to the Atchafalaya. Life as people know it in New Orleans would be over. No doubt about it. It'll affect infrastructure, the offshore oil and gas industry. Where tell them, Monsieur Guidry, fisheries would become altered across the delta. The oysters reefs would die in a short time, which would take years to redo, right? Correct. And the list goes on, does it not, Monsieur Guidry? Oui, il n'est, does it not, Monsieur? Skip down to Margie there. Water would fail to offset the tidal movement of the Gulf.
What page?
52. Down at the bottom, 52. We got about 8 pages to go. Doing pretty well.
Who the hell is this guy? I kept thinking. It's Amos Guidry, for crying out loud. How the heck does he know all of this? And the look on his face, guilty, guilty, guilty. He's done something, and this is part of it. And you're stalling, Boudreaux. I started to wonder if I had a clue about any of these people. Boudreaux, Guidry, Dax Hartley, Mr. Allen, and of course, sitting in the background for the moment like 2 bottom picks on an American Idol, Daphne Rose and Jim Higginbotham.
Let's see here. Without fresh water, it'll be nearly destroyed. While this is happening, nobody will think of the people. Just imagine the emotional turmoil. The people will lose everything they've worked for.
Okay, enough is enough, Boudreaux. I remember saying to myself, tell us what the hell this is all about. I believe we all thought the same thing. Boudreaux seemed to catch our drift.
Our camera pans out. We see the entire diner. You are among the greedy, mes amis. Everyone, meet Amos Guidry, OC executive, profiteur of millions. Beaucoup de personnel gain. Monsieur Guidry is eaten up with shame. Tell him, Pichouin. It's true. I made millions from the oil spill. I helped many people out of business. Put them out of business. I wanted to put a gun in my head, but I was in the pocket of some very important people, if you know what I mean. I feel guilty, I do. But I was warned, you say anything about these denied claims and it'll be over for you. You and your family. I'm sorry. I truly am. I can only take it back. I didn't want to do something. But you didn't, did you? Just a few months back, too. Many claims denied, right, Monsieur? The OC executive looks down in shame. And my claim, right, Monsieur Guidry? The revelation. I didn't make the correlation at first. Not until you pulled that gun. You started talking about your claim and how your life was ruined. I thought, oh my God, it's Michel Boudreaux, the one I denied. I ruined his life, and the man's here for restitution. He's gonna kill me for sure. Vous avez pensé de votre kinsman. We close on Margie Bain, freeze frame.
Now, this was an interesting statement. You've thought about nothing of your kinsman? Not only had Boudreaux found faults in all of his sinners, The main motive was to wreak revenge on this man and to show him he had betrayed his people. Guidry, on all accounts, was guilty. By the look of the OC executive's face, I could see that he knew he was in trouble.
Angle and Boudreaux. From a federal level, tell the jury what will happen, Monsieur Guidry. One can also imagine the impact on the nation. Massive use of federal dollars protecting Louisiana's infrastructure, loss of natural gas, blackouts in the southeast. Goes on and on. Suddenly, it'll cease to function properly.
I was starting to see what Boudreaux's fight with the oil company was why it was so important. Two things came to mind. One, a hurricane in the Gulf bringing in massive amounts of oil that wasn't supposed to be there. And two, a major breach in the levee system around the New Orleans. Something most people said was impossible. What he was going to do with Amos Guidry, that was another question. Still, there were worse crimes, I kept thinking. I knew Boudreaux was thinking about the Fifth Center, too.
Interior of the diner at night, short time later. We see Boudreaux back in his camp. On a whim, he moves quickly toward the court of detainees. Glutonary, I figured y'all wanted to know. Angle and Mark.
He means gluttony.
We see Boudreaux now standing over the court of detainees like a drill sergeant. Many fall victim to this vice. But the thing is, excessive behavior pertains to other things just in food. It could be alcohol or drugs or any number of things. An overabundance or whatever you like to do. Temperance, now that breaks the bond. It accepts the natural limits. The old Cajun's eyes laminate on the fast-talking Sam Fletcher. The mooch of the town. Weighs over 300 pounds. Eats like 3 people. Not a lazy man. Always seems to have the energy to bamboozle something out of somebody. Our camera zooms in on the spot in front of Sam Fletcher. Several empty plates, a cheap pack of cigarettes, and a sleeve of Rolaids occupy the table. Cigarette butts fill the ashtray. Angle on Boudreaux. Fille Monsieur Fletcher. You ain't nothing but a cheat, and you never done a dime thing to make a difference. You don't do nothing but bum. You pee-schwunk and run your babbling mouth. Bunch of mumbo-jumbo, that is. Sam Fletcher stops puffing on his cigarette mid-stride. He nearly gags on the smoke. Shock overtakes him. You talking about me? Yeah, you damn right, you. Now stand up, Monsieur. Sam Fletcher can hardly think about standing. He has eaten too much. With no help whatsoever, the behemoth rises half-heartedly, struggling with his weight, suspicious eyes boring into him. No words escape his lips as a bubble of methane gas explodes into the air.
How disgusting.
Mr. Fletcher, you are amongst many who fall victim to gluttony. In fact, there are many roots in the early South. During the Civil War, the entire Deep South's gluttonous soldiers irked President Abraham Lincoln. It also means you can be greedy, sir, or gormandizing, or audacious, or crapulent. Nevertheless, you like to be pampered. Sam Fletcher starts to protest, but he's cut off. Let me just put it this way, sir. Gluttony is not a secret vice. Orson Welles, or take Peter de Vries. Gluttony is an emotional escape, a sign that something is eating us. We continued through Boudreaux's eyes, but now we see through two slits. You are much like the sloth, monsieur. Sip your greed runs deeper. Peut-être you may suffer in the future from some terrible malady. We close on Sam Fletcher. I don't understand. Alors, pa, you have this uncanny capacity to gorge yourself. With the advent of fast food restaurants and drive-through windows, America has become a country of overeaters. What in the medieval times, when the world was a much cooler place, abuse to alcohol meant you were a glutton. In Dante's Inferno, punishment for gluttons was eternal rain. I don't know how this affects me so much. Do I have to join the rest of the sinners? Allons, la penalty for you may come later in life, although I have a suspicion that le jury may have something to say about that. I ain't gonna lie.
The immediate effects of gluttony may be covered up by digestion, but ultimately is deadly to strength and to virility, resulting in premature death. In other words, Mr. Fletcher, you just can't just eat junk food and expect to live a healthy life. Sometimes, same goes for rich foods. Basically, it boils down to what Boudreaux said, temperance, which breaks the bond, you see. Eating too much of the wrong foods results in your body working overtime. You have to break down what you put in. There's trouble with acid. It makes you thirsty all the time, and sometimes you feel faint.
Hang on, Sam Fletcher nodding shamefully.
And in worst cases, you suffer from diarrhea and constipation. Again, Mr. Fletcher, you cannot eat like a hog and expect to lead a healthy life.
We close on Marchie May, obviously overthinking and fretful about what has occurred. Extreme close on Marchie May.
As far as I could tell, Sam Fletcher had no problem accepting what he had heard. He knew he was overweight, and until now had given no regard to healthy consumption. He, clearly, was impetuous when it came to food. But Violet was right. The body couldn't handle these types of heavy ingredients. That Chef Pierre had taught me as well. So we had a fifth victim. Gluttony. But wait, I said to myself, what other than his own health could be Fletcher's crime? What was Boudreaux getting at? Was he just trying to say, hey, take it easy on yourself, treat your body like a temple, eat healthy, live long? To all of us, no. If Sam Fletcher had done something wrong, he too would have to pay.
Fade out, time cut, interior diner at night.
Our sixth victim was actually the store's manager, Chris Stevens. It didn't surprise me, though. The man was about as cocky as they come, a nobody's as tough as me kind of guy. He was short and definitely had the short man's complex. Shoulders carried high, back bowed into a V, unblinking eyes, the traditional flat-top hairdo. Everything that irked me in a man. Again, I felt Boudreaux had attracted my thoughts.
Angle on Boudreaux. Anger, Monsieur Stevens, will get you to axe every time. We see Chris Stevens, the stocky, short man, gritting his teeth. The tough guy plants his eyes on the old Cajun as we zoom out to a two-shot to include Boudreaux. Well, what the hell's this all about, in many ways, old man? Mais jamais de la vie. Sublimation, Pichwank. You gonna find out soon enough. You see, you got the gree-gree in you. Son, no respect at all. To make a point, Boudreaux fires above Chris Stevens' head. The shot reverberates throughout the diner. deafening blast sends Chris Stevens scurrying backward, feeling at his body for a bullet hole. In fact, everyone dives for cover. Smart off to me one more time, Monsieur Stevens, and that's your ass I'm gonna fill with a hole. Comprenez-vous? Our camera pans to the phone ringing. Boudreaux in the frame to answer. Now don't go get your feathers all ruffled yet. Nobody's hurt. I was just making a point. No, I'll do nothing of the sort. Slams the phone down. We close on Margie Main, briefly.
I wondered if things weren't turning into a fiasco. Had I become impatient, exasperated by Boudreaux's plan? Maybe. After all, he had taken us hot against our wills. Was he mediating the personality disorders that would have plagued us for years to come? Probably. The fact of the matter, we had our 6th victim, and we were 1 to go.
Anger is gonna get you one-way ticket to the pen. Kindness, now that will set your heart free. It means taking the tender approach. Anger is often our first retort to the problems we face. To tell the truth, you only see la reflexion of yourself. Now join the other sinners. We fade out to a red screen. We cut the title 1 hour later. Interior of the diner at night. We see the court of detainees in deep discussion. Will the 7th sinner be announced? Some of the group seems worried. One lone man, Harold Wallbanger, has sat silently thus far. His eyes, however, appear mischievous. We cannot see anything otherwise because of his beard. He doesn't appear to be a man that will be accused of lust. Close on Harold Wallbanger. There is one among us a pedophile. There is no disputing this word. It's so close to the English version, nobody had a doubt. We pan out to see the whole group disgusted as Harold Wallbanger extricates himself from the crowd. I see by the look on your faces. Don't be quick to judge. As the Bible says, he without sin, let him be the first to cast a stone. Harold's countenance displays guilt. Some are ready to stone this man right then and there. Harold looks as if he knows what he has done. Others start to wonder too. Harold is now an island amongst them. Permettez-moi de vous présenter Harold Wallbanger, pédophile extraordinaire. We close on Margie Main, freeze frame.
Although he wore a beard, I could see in his eyes the revelation of the past catching up to him. I had no sympathy for pedophiles. I hated them. I had compassion for all those poor souls whose innocence had been stolen from people like this.
Harold attempts to apologize, to actually apologize.
The nerve of that bastard. All those innocent kids. You sick fuck. Boudreaux, I wanted to scream.
Hang on, Boudreaux. More apologies may be necessary. Monsieur Wallbanger, we gonna see. Now, I want you to listen and pay attention. And premier, don't take it the wrong way. Je suis sympathie. For what you have done, it is déraisonnable. You are the worst kind of human merde. A bon being. Yes. You made me sick to the stomach. Mais jamais de la vie. Now exclude yourself from the rest of the sinners. Form a group by yourself. We fade to a time cut. Boudreaux's just returned from the bathroom. He obviously has a bladder problem. Daphne escorts him. Through Boudreaux's tired eyes, our camera produces a droopy effect. We see the court of detainees anticipating what he might do. The virtue that breaks the bond of lust is called self-control. Monsieur Wallbanger prevents the pleasure from killing the soul by suffocation. Acadians know all too well that lust is self-destructive. Sex, power, or image can be used in a wrong way, although people tend to get out of control.
But what did Harold do? Tell us, Boudreaux. He's the seventh one? We knew the revelations were soon to come.
Okay, I think that's where we want to stop tonight. Page 67. It ends the centers being presented, and now you're going to find out on the next episode what happens to everybody. And it's a jaw dropper at the end. You can ask Izzy.
Yeah, it is.
You just don't see what's coming at the end. But yeah, I see a bunch of wonderful people out there tonight.
I want to thank Pendar.
Janica, Arda Morgan, Sean Gorman. I know we've had some people coming in now. Good evening, Misha Lee, Be Missed, Zombie Queen. Hey, Cassie, Tells Gold in the Dark. Pendar.
Sean.
Jenny Scud. How y'all like it so far? Hey, Sable. Got a couple of... Got Sean, let's see here.
Would you quit?
Sean's
I'm
been a
pushing
member
buttons.
Oh, you can pushing those buttons. All right, good deal.
10 months for him. $20 doing the deal.
Yeah, we just figured it was a little bit too long to do in one set. I'm surprised we got past page 60, but I didn't realize that 67 was the end of part 2, you know. So...
Thank you, guys.
And Izzy, we only been rolling for an hour and a half.
Is that it?
I thought it would take 3 hours to read that much.
I read fast. You don't.
Yeah. How'd everybody like it? Okay.
Thank you, Casper.
Casper. How you been doing, Frank? Yeah, I wrote the book for this many years ago, and then 2 years after I wrote that, I wrote the screenplay in case anybody ever wanted to make a movie out of it, but we'll see. You never know. Yep, a lot of the overlays were produced by Izzy, and she did a great job on all that, and picked out some good music.
And you helped.
Yeah, we work together, you know.
Hey, Dagan.
Yep. So I think if I'm feeling up for it, tomorrow night it's going to be the second half. But let me play that by ear. We'll see how it goes. I'm not feeling 100% right now, so. Yeah. Thank you, Janica.
I'd like to.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem. What was you about to put up there?
Oops. I was just going to put up a different background.
Oh. How you doing, Misha? Yep. I think it went pretty smoothly. Did a great job, Izzy.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Some of those voices are tough.
It was.
My goodness,
Still
trying
tough.
to do the mechanical voice box. About to kill me.
I can tell. All right, are we saying goodbye?
Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and close it out. Thank you, everybody. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
Thank you, guys. And away we go. Sk, 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 sk. tingle green.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. And I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.